Well, we I think we should start with the most important thing of the show, the main event. I feel like I feel like this was the right call for two different reasons to go with Hangman, and I'll quickly go over those two different reasons. One, because of where we're getting All In Texas. You know, you put a cowboy on the card, that's only going to just it's gonna bring another level of energy to your live audience.
Yeah.
Which then in turn makes the experience more enjoyable for your home viewing audience. That Texas crowd, if you're unfamiliar with how Texas feels about cowboys, Hangman's from Virginia. That doesn't fucking matter. He's a goddamn cowboy, and he embodies Texas just by that gimmick alone.
Didn't he come out on a Double or Nothing riding a horse one year?
Yeah. Imagine what he's gonna do now. Jesus Christ!
They'll bring the whole fucking barn with him.
This is gonna be epic, man. That he's gonna be a hometown hero. We have had to endure some pretty lame, boring, drug out, just fucking stories with that world title picture on John Moxley. We finally have a situation and a story and a pay-per-view and a venue set up for us to get a big triumphant title change. And I'm telling you right fucking now, if they don't do this title change at All In, they have completely ruined their entire being with that goddamn title on Moxley. No one will care anymore. This is it. It has to come off. It has to change. That's reason number one. I think they have the right stage set up for a Moxley and Hangman world title match, the right venue. Everything's going to be fucking great. Reason number two, this makes the struggle for Will Osprey and his chase for the world title even better. Even better. The longer it takes, the better. The more we see him chase. This is the chase, ladies and gentlemen. This is called the chase in pro wrestling. That chase gets any longer, it's going to just make his win even better. And I think we're going to get that win in London when they go back overseas, man. This is a nice little setup for them, and that might make Hangman a transitional champion, but that is fine. Hangman has already been world champion. Hangman has been getting his flowers as of late. He's doing fantastic work, but this is the right moment, and this is the right path for the AEW world title right now in 2025.
I don't know how to feel. I think coming into this, you and I both talked about Hangman winning. That's both what we wanted. My heart wanted Hangman. I thought they were going to go with Osprey. I've been very vehement.
Yeah.
Coming out of last year, you guys know me. If you guys watch me for any period of time, I have screamed to the heavens about how I thought Hangman and Swerve should have main evented last year's All In, with Hangman winning the World Championship, or if not, Hangman ending Bryan Danielson and having that championship reign start at WrestleDream last year instead of it being John Moxley and whatever we got last October. I felt that should have been the case. They didn't go anywhere close to that. Hangman went off and did something with Jeff Jarrett, and he floated in the middle of fucking irrelevancy on AEW Dynamite for months until the feud with MJF that went into Revolution. I don't know how I feel about this. On one hand, I'm happy. On one hand, I am over the moon that he is finally getting what he deserves, because in 6 years, who is the best character that has had multiple layers added to him every single year, every single time we see him on television? That's Adam Page. The molding of someone's character in AEW rarely happens the way we see it, like it has happened to Adam Page. And going back to the Kenny Omega feud where he won the world championship from Kenny Omega years ago, it started then. And going into that, now we're going into a different Adam Page, and we're getting this Adam Page going into this year's All In, which is their biggest show ever. and he's fighting for the world championship against Jon Moxley, who, for all intents and purposes, has basically killed the company with this title reign. I don't know what's going to happen come July 12th. A title win for Adam Page saves us from everything, and we get the happy ending that we all deserve after what will be what? That's October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 9 months. 9 months of a reign of terror. We finally get the happy ending that we, as a fan base, deserve. Does that happen? I hope so. But there's a small suspicion. There's a small feeling in my heart, Jesse, that no matter how much we have asked for this particular situation to happen, I don't think Tony Khan, there's a small chance that I feel Tony Khan is not going to give us what we want. And what you just stated should not happen is going to happen. I feel like Jon Moxley, small chance that he retains the championship at All In. We leave that show with Jon Moxley still the world's heavyweight champion. And we go on into what everybody had predicted with Darby Allin in the first place, with this being his crowning moment at All In. But he climbed Mount Everest. We're going to wait till October to do it at WrestleDream in Seattle or Tacoma or somewhere in Washington. And he's going to get the hometown moment and beat Jon Moxley at WrestleDream, where it all started 1 year ago. I hope to fucking Christ that is not the case, because I cannot take another, 4 months of Jon Moxley being the world champion. That would absolutely deteriorate their product to a point where I don't think the fans that you want to come back, they aren't coming back ever again. And the fans that you have right now that you're starting to maybe slowly start to build some level of faith in them and start to develop some trust in them, you're going to fucking kill their vibe completely, and they're going to be the next ones to go and never come back. You cannot have this happen again. Otherwise, it will destroy your company creatively to a point where it's never going to get back to what you want it to be. So I have a feeling that we may be looking at something like that. Does Darby make it to All In? Does he get added to this match? I have no fucking idea what they got planned. I thought they were going to go with Will Osprey, because with all the Will Osprey interviews and the quotes, and he's everywhere talking about this and that, I just felt like he was going to be positioned as the guy to take down Jon Moxley. He has been the flag of AEW, and now they're going with Hangman. I just have this feeling, Jesse, that they're going with Hangman because they didn't want to beat Osprey, and they have every intent on keeping that belt on Moxley, and it's easier if Moxley beats Hangman instead of beating Will Osprey. I hope I'm wrong. I seriously hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too. I hope it plays out like this. I mean, I don't have, me personally, I don't have Darby in the main event scene, until, probably next year, to be honest. I mean, that I think the time he took away is great for his own personal goals and things like that. But when he comes back and he's ready to go, and he's back in the ring shape and he's back and ready to work, I'm putting Darby on the same kind of chase that Will Osprey is on. I'm gonna let this time be about Hangman and then be about Osprey, and focus on Osprey as champion for the immediate time being. And I'm going to focus on rebuilding and redoing everything with Darby Allin, going into next year. I'm going to focus on Will Ospreay being my long-term champion for right now. But I see what you're saying. I see where you're going with it. And that could be something they could do too. Me personally, we have plenty of main eventers up there at the top right now. And I think it's good to have some on the back burner to do a little bit later. MJF's not doing a goddamn thing right now. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him. Darby can be another guy that you can put somewhere along the lines of MJF, early next year or something like that, as we try to move on from Will Ospreay and his title run. But for right now, for 2025, I'm focusing on getting that title on Will Ospreay. And letting that chase come to an end, and letting this Moxley reign come to an end quickly as possible.
There have been 13 AEW world champions across the company in 6 years. Jon Moxley, he owns 4 of those reigns. The longest reign is MJF at 406 days. The longest combined reign is Jon Moxley at 568 days. The shortest reign is CM Punk at 3 days. That was his second reign. MJF was the youngest champion at 26 years old. Jericho won it at 48 years old. And there was one vacancy. That was in September of 2022 due to CM Punk's injury and suspension. And then there was an interim champion where Jon Moxley was awarded the championship and not counted as an official reign. It was up until recently, Jesse, where Samoa Joe beat MJF at World's End. He held the championship for about 4 months. And then he lost it to Swerve, who held it for 3 months. And then Bryan Danielson beat Swerve at All In last year and held it from July 7th to October at Wrestle Dream. And then Jon Moxley won the championship from Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream and has held it ever since. It was only until last year where we started to feel a little bit of that hot potatoing of the AEW championship. But for the most part, when you're crowned AEW champion, you're at least guaranteed at least a year reign as champion. Several months as champion. MJF was the longest reigning champion. And I just feel with Moxley holding the championship now, I don't know if they're ready to go back. I don't even know if it's the right move for them to go back. If Hangman wins it, where do we go with the championship? Because you mentioned Will Osprey and the O2 Arena in London. Now, I know there's a big thing about him walking in as champion or walking in as challenger and fighting for the championship. Does he win the championship there? And do we have another really short reign as champion? I don't know. Or does Moxley hold it and then drop it to Darby, and then Darby has it for, 2-3 months and then drops it to someone like an MJF, and then we get Osprey beating MJF for the championship. I don't know where we go, but as history has told us, when you are crowned AEW champion, you bear the responsibility for several months as AEW world champion. Up until last year where it was, 2-3 months here, 2-3 months there, and so on and so forth. I don't know. But I don't want to scare people, but, Tony might have this grand illusion of the cowboy in Texas, and it's a great theme, and it's a great vibe. But Jon Moxley and Darby Allin, we all know this was the original plan. We all know that this was going to be the destination until Darby wanted to climb Mount Everest. So is Tony Khan going to wait on that and give us another opportunity at that happening in October? Or is he just going to do what needs to be done here for the sake of his show and give it to Hangman Page and then just book whatever he needs to with Hangman as the champion? That's the best way to go about it for me. I think holding the belt for another 4 months on Jon Moxley just so that Darby gets it, I mean, you're doing more harm than good there. You got an opportunity at creating such a great moment here. Take it. Plus, you could also tell the story of either the Bucks helping Page or the Bucks staying with the Death Riders and screwing Page over. And then we move on from that. There's a story that could come out of that. We don't know. I think there's ultimately more positive with them going with Page than not going with Page, just as far as the sheer story going into All In.
Yeah, it's true, man. They for the most part, all in all, I think they're choosing of the champions, and the length of their runs has been fair. It's been fine. It's been pretty good. You can't help unforeseen things. Injuries happen. This happens, that happens. But for the most part, like you said, if you're crowned champion, you're crowned champion. They're not known to hot potato the title. And that's why, I thought, I'm not even like pitching for this to happen. I just think that they're going to go this route. That's why I thought that, especially with the after the match moment where they, shook hands and, hugged and kissed and all that shit, that Hangman and Will Osprey, that they could be on a collision course after Hangman defeats Moxley. So something happens, something happens with their relationship, and we get Hangman and Moxley. I'm sorry, Hangman and Osprey in London running back. Hangman and Osprey have a falling out, and they duke it out this time for the title. Who knows? They killed it tonight. I don't know, but I do like, as you just ran it down like that, I do like how selective they have been with their champions and their reigns. Again, outside of the parts where they had to adjust and make shit happen. And shout out to Moxley for being that reliable to be able to be tagged as champion when they needed him. But my God, is he losing goodwill with this current run of his right now?
Oh, he's lost all credibility. I think his legacy has been absolutely tarnished with this legacy. He felt like this storyline was his magnum opus. his bloodline, his last send off, but I don't think it's done anything for the company at all in a positive, meaningful way. I think it's killed the company more so than anything. But you know, I'm going Hangman. My heart's going Hangman. My heart was with Hangman tonight. I was legitimately shocked. I sat there for a good 30 seconds with my jaw just wide open, my mouth wide open, jaw on the floor. I was surprised that they did the ending that they did tonight. I had Will Osprey pegged to win this match, and I was like, all right, whatever. Either way you want to go. You want to go Osprey, you want to go Page. I can't hate on either one of these guys winning this match, but to see Hangman actually get the W over Will Osprey and get that graphic with Moxley for the main event of All In, I was just shocked. So
Yeah.
it was a great match. It went on way too late. I felt like if the match was one of 6, it would have been so much more impactful. The fact that it went on after Anarchy in the Arena, and that was in itself fucking chaotic as fuck. And then it went on at 11:47. I just felt like a lot of the match going on that late was harmed just by going on at that hour. But they still delivered a great match. Crowd was still somewhat into it, and it was every bit of a main event as you would expect from AEW. I don't know how everybody else felt about the Owen. I thought this year's Owen was the best Owen that Tony Khan has done. Ever since he's changed the championship stipulation for the tournament, where the winner of the tournament gets the main event of All In instead of just getting a fucking stupid belt and a trophy. The winner of this tournament goes to All In and gets the opportunity at the World Championship, both the men and the women's championship. It has done wonders for the tournament. It has made it an absolute staple. It's brought back vibes from me watching old WWF back in the day when the King of the Ring actually meant something, where the winner of the King of the Ring would go on to SummerSlam and get a WWE Championship match or become the number one contender for the WWE Championship match at a later date. I love that, and it's made it so important that the Owen, to me, is far greater than the Continental Classic, and the Continental Classic is something that takes a whole month of television with the tournament. It's round robin matches, and you see nothing but Continental Classic matches every single week across both shows. The Owen has superseded that in importance. So kudos to Tony Khan for booking a tournament. Both tournaments were very predictable through the quarterfinals and the semifinals, but both finals absolutely delivered, especially the men's. It was unpredictable, and it could have gone either way. So he did a very, very good job at both the men's and women's tournament.